Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me for the EDL A54 case study in the case of the missing Booster Club funds. When I looked at this problem, I think, the number one issue is that we had a problem with a discrepancy in um, tickets and missing money that was reported to the principal. So what do we know about this situation? I think uh, for the most part, you have a situation where you have a community that is heavily involved in the school, which is an awesome thing, right? We know that there are a lot of parents who frequent the school and who um, do a ton of volunteer work, and that's based a lot upon the relationship that they have with the principal, with the school, and that the school has with the community and the parents. So I think that's really cool. And then the next thing we know is that, Ms. Bowman, who is who appears to be a very active parent in the building, is also trying to secure funding for her daughter to go to New York for cheerleading competition. I think this presents us with a motive as the plot thickens. We know that this principal has had some policies in place that govern the way that volunteers interact with the school and during school functions. We know this because, uh, we know this principal um, has some policies and procedures in place. We know that he is familiar with his inventory there at the concession stand, and he's done a good job of putting numbered tickets at the doors. Mr. Dumas, right? A community member came in and just so happened to have a conversation with the principal and discussed the idea that he paid with the $50 bill. And then we know that there was an issue with tickets numbered 78 through 88 being torn and discarded, which just so happened to be $50 worth of inventory. At the same time, this same $50 bill was not present when the principal was doing the count in order to make the deposit at the end of the night. I think some of the things we need to know is, what are the procedures that were in place um, to count the money at the end of the night? We know that there were two volunteers at the gate. Is it policy or is it procedure for them to do a count before they give the money to the principal at the end of the night? Were these procedures followed? Who did the check? Before we came up with a discrepancy at the bank. And, yes, we know that in theory there should have been another person collecting money for tickets sold, but did this take place? It was a busy night. There was a lot going on, jam-packed gym. So just want to make sure that all those things were in place and all those things did happen prior to the money being given to the principal at the end of the night. When I look at this, immediately a couple things come to mind. I want to make sure that the people that are coming to interact in our building uh, know best practice as it relates to serving in our building, right? Love the fact, excited about the fact that parents and community members want to be in our building. That says a lot about the environment that we've created, created an environment where people want to be. And I think that's cool. But now we have to make sure that they know how to interact with our students, with our space, and how precious the resources that come into our school are, as they support the learning for all of our students. So we want to get them in. We want to have a meeting. We want to train them again in those policies and procedures. We will certify in the fall, recertify in the spring. Any volunteer that wants to work in the classroom or at the ticket booth at games or selling concessions, we want to make sure that everybody knows all the information and knows that these are important positions of service in our building, and we love the fact that we can fill them with volunteers. But we also want them to know that since the buck stops with me as the building administrator, I want to make sure that people are clear that these resources belong to our students. And if you want to get on the opposite side of me, you know, do something that will get in the way of our students having the best educational experience possible. So that's going to be important for me to let them know. Also, we want to implement the two-person accountability system for all volunteers. You know, this just allows everybody to stay safe. It allows our resources to stay safe. It allows, most importantly, our volunteers to stay safe while they're serving our students, and keeps them safe as well. So very, very important. At the end of the day, you know, this is a school, and we want to make sure that we are providing an atmosphere for learning. And learning takes place in many different forms, right? It takes place in the classroom. It takes place in the hallways. It takes place on the athletic fields and courts. And so we love the fact that our parents are involved, and we want to make sure that we are giving them every opportunity to enhance our learning environment. And that is going to be quintessential to our success. And we also want the community members that do come and do support our events and do support us fiscally to know that we are doing our due diligence and that we have policies and procedures in place that are ran with fidelity, and that you know, we will do so with integrity and accountability. So, in looking at how to apply resolution to this case, you know, I really found myself in a place of saying, you know, what a great learning environment has been created here, right? Where there are volunteers who are willing to give of their time and energy to come and see that students you know, have access to a great learning environment. So I love that aspect. I've really found myself valuing that in applying my thinking to this issue. I also found myself valuing the fact that there are beautiful relationships that have been formed over the years with the school at the center of a community. And I think that is so cool. I think that as a building leader, that is something that I myself would strive to create inside of the community where I live and work, right? That's the vision, is that the school be a place where everyone feels welcome and they want to contribute and do so freely. And I also found myself valuing the sense of pride that the community had in the school itself. And what a sense of pride that must give to the principal as he goes about his work as well. And then I was thinking, you know, what a great responsibility as the building administrator you have in order to be a good steward of the monies, of the lives. that have been, that have been assigned to you. So it's very important to me to be a good steward of the people and the things that fall under our jurisdiction. So I also felt the need to find the courage to be able to confront someone who may have been a great supporter in the past, and someone who has had children come through the building and has children in the building now, but may be getting in the way of having a great learning experience for all of our students, as she got a little bit selfish, in my opinion, and may be trying to rob us. And so we want to make sure to have the courage to step to her and let her know that, look, this is not just about your child, and as the building leader, your child is one of many, in this case 450, that we have to look out for and do the best thing for. Things that are open or unresolved in this case are, how will we address Miss Bowman? Is this a situation where there was just an honest mistake and maybe there was no theft involved? So don't want to automatically approach her and accuse her of stealing, but it does leave us open for further investigation, if you will. And so I want to make sure that I am doing that again with fidelity, in a direct manner. And just a quick question, knowing that Mr. Dumas came and paid for his tickets with a $50 bill that was not present when the principal went to the bank, I would like to know what happened to that, and do a little further investigating on that as well. And, what did end up happening with the damaged inventory, the tickets? I think that's one of the things we want to change moving forward, is that if you have damaged inventory, that needs to be accounted for as well, at the end of the night. So let me back up here with the quick reflection on standard number 8, which states an educational leader promotes the academic success and personal well-being of every student by ensuring effective and efficient management of the school or district to promote student social and academic learning. I think it's poignant to point out that the beauty of this situation is that there is a ton of community support. And I love this aspect of this building. I think it really speaks to the relationships that have been built over the years, and it really shows a community togetherness. Next, the policies and procedures that he had in place, I believe, speak to his ability to manage the school. And lastly, his ability to say no to Miss Bowman on a pretty particular request also shows that he has the interests of all at heart. Next, having athletics and activities at the school speaks to the need and growth for all students. We know what happens when parents and communities get involved with their students and with their academics, and what that does for everyone. Also celebrating those achievements outside of school and what that does for kids as well. When you have those policies and procedures in place, things tend to run a lot smoother, right? It allows the periphery to get out the way, and we can focus purely on education. And so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you again for tuning in, and have a